Aloha Manga Club, it's your boy Lohali signing in with East Coast Manga, aka Nick. He is a new up-and-coming manga tube creator, and I'm wanting to do a new spotlight where every few videos I reach out to smaller creators and really get their input as to where they think manga tube is going, you know, how they got their start, what inspires them, and where they want to grow as a creator. It's a series that I'm so excited for, and I'm excited to share this very first one with you, Nick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day outside and awesome time to do this video.
It's great weather. It's nice and gray here, just like I like it. You know, us Midwest people are a little bit weird sometimes. We argue about corn. We hate Iowa. But overall, I'm, like I said, genuinely excited to have this conversation with you because I think there are some great perspectives that you can bring as a new creator. So before we really dive into this, can you tell people a little bit about what you are about as a channel and as a creator?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, East Coast Manga. You can also call me Nick. But I made my channel about a little over a month ago. And honestly, like if you go on there, I make videos about everything pertaining to mostly manga, but also anime a bit. I've been kind of branching out a little bit. I have a new video coming out in a couple of days that kind of dives into a little more anime, but more so heavily manga. And I try to branch out from just hauls and collections, although my video, which I just uploaded, is a haul. But I tend to do a lot more videos than that, and that's kind of what I strive for. I like to upload as consistently as possible. And yeah, so I'd recommend checking it out and kind of getting your own viewpoint on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've gone from 0 to 200 subs in a single month, which is really, really tough to do. When I first started creating, you know, it was a struggle to get past that first 100 in the first month or two. And now, you know, you've gotten out there, you've put your name out there, you've been on a few different live streams. I know you're on the quarantine stream with Bindor and Elias, which was a great time, and actually our first interaction. And talking with you there really made me want to reach out to you on this level and get to know you a little bit better one-on-one and let the community get to know you. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. So I have to ask though, why did you choose MangaTube, of all things, to start creating on?
So I kind of slightly made a video about this. It was I think it was more so like why I got into like manga reading, but to kind of go back a little bit, the first manga I ever bought was about almost a full year ago. It was back around, I would say, either last May or June, and it was, I can't remember exactly what it was. I usually say it's Death Note, but it was either Death Note or the Dragon Ball Omnibus. And I was just kind of at Newberry Comics, which some of you guys may know, some of you may not. But I started kind of checking those out. I hadn't been into like manga or anime before that. I had watched some anime, but at the time I didn't know it was anime because I was so young. And then I just kind of got into manga, started picking up some more stuff, and that kind of led me to Reddit and like the manga collectors and all that kind of stuff. And I've kind of been putting off making a channel and making videos, even though I'd been watching MangaTube for a while, probably, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 months now, or 3-4 months before I started making my channel, which was about a month ago. And I don't know, I just kind of, I've been really busy with work since January. And if I did want to make a video or make a channel, I wanted to be able to upload consistently and really just have a nice base to work off of. And then once the virus and all this hit and work and just everything was affected by it, I had a lot of free time, and I decided, you know, why not make I think my first video was a haul video, and I just picked some stuff up and I was really excited about what I picked up. So I'm like, oh, you know, why not start right now when I have some good time? And for probably a week or two, I was able to upload every single day. Like I said, I want to start out strong. And now I've cut it back to about once every 2 days. And, you know, eventually I would like to just be able to have a solid schedule. But I think what's most important is just really staying consistent when you first start the channel. And that was something I was worried about. But it's been going great so far. And now that I have a nice base, if I do start getting really busy, it's something that I feel like I'll still be able to upload enough to be able to, at least please, my subscribers and hopefully keep growing. But yeah, that's really why I got into it. I don't know. I love watching all the videos, and I would just put on, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was really into manga hauls and manga collections. Like, I know a lot of people are, and I could just play like one of those in the background while I was doing whatever. And I just thought it was so interesting seeing people's opinions on different manga.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I guess that's my backstory on that.
And you actually started in a way that I would recommend new creators do, and that's uploading literally every single day. Like, if you are able to upload every single day for a month, the amount that your channel will grow is absolutely insane. And I think that was a really good kick up for you. Doing,
Yeah.
you said 2 weeks straight almost?
Yeah, I want to say it was at least 2 weeks where I did almost every single day, or somewhere around that. It was a good little bit, maybe a week and a half, but like it almost feels like longer because like it does take a good amount of work. And I don't know if this is something we would get into later, but I do want to mention, like, you don't have to record like one video per day to get all that done. Like I was at the point where I could record 3-4 videos in one day and upload them all privately, create the thumbnails, create the descriptions, everything like that. And then you can schedule your videos. So um, if you have the time and the ability to upload, to record multiple videos in one day, that's definitely the way to do it, because then you don't have to be stressed about like, oh, I got to record this video this day, this video that day, this video the next day. Because that can definitely get overwhelming. So I would recommend taking advantage of the scheduling feature on YouTube. That really helped me out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something really, really big that people don't sometimes get the concept of. And in fact, I have a hard time. Batch recording is another common name for it. Just because, I have a very short attention span sometimes, and I do go on a lot of rants. However, I've found that recently I'm good at batch making thumbnails. And the great thing about doing that is, I can make a consistent style with my thumbnails. For like my one shots, the one that came out as of today recording was the Parasite Fairy Tale one, and that was kind of my first attempt. It was okay, but then the next 3 to 4 thumbnails and videos that I actually already have recorded and lined up, ready to go, were a ton of fun, and I'm really pumped because I think they're some of the best looking thumbnails that I've had. And then, batch recording certain videos is a great way to go about it. Like, I have recorded 2 weeks ago, I recorded 4 episodes of the Manga Club in 5 days. That's a month's worth of content. And realistically, for myself, the Manga Club, the hardest part is waiting for it to render. Like, yeah. So it's rendering is a tough thing if you don't have a fast computer. And since mine is matching audio with video, thankfully, my hour, these hour and 10-minute long videos usually take about 3 hours to render, which isn't half bad at all. Actually, it's pretty decent time. But how do you kind of do your batch recording process?
So what I'll do is, starting from the beginning, so I'll record the videos and I'll just record them one after the other if I have the possibility. And some of the videos I make, like whether they're discussion videos or reviews or just whatever, like I can pop those out pretty easy. So what I'll do is, once I'm finished recording all of them, I'll slide the SD card into my computer. I have a little more of an expensive editing software than some other people. I use Final Cut Pro, and you don't need to use that, but I had already purchased that before I started doing this, and so luckily I have that. And my Mac's pretty quick. It's a 2015, but it's a little more of a juiced version, and it works really well. So usually I pop it in there, and then I'll edit one video at a time, because what I do is I edit it. Once I'm finished with it, I'll upload it straight from the editing software, because I realize that is so much faster than if I were to create a master file and then upload that master file to YouTube. That has taken me so long before. And not even just that, but just creating the master file has taken so long. I don't know exactly why it takes so long. It just does. And I've noticed that if I upload straight from the editing software to YouTube, it can be done. You know, if I record, let's say, a 10-minute video, it can be uploaded in like 5 minutes or less. And I'll always upload it privately, so then I can go on YouTube and just do everything on there before I want to make it public. And usually I'll do that for every single video. And then once all the videos are up, I don't do it in the same process as you. I usually make the thumbnails afterwards. And then sometimes I'll use the video for the thumbnails. So what I tend to do is I try to figure out whether I want to use the thumbnail or like if I want to use a clip for the thumbnail, I'll usually use the first like half second or second of the video and use that as a thumbnail. And I kind of know that going ahead or, you know, into it. Sometimes I'll create a custom thumbnail, but that's really only for specific videos that I don't want to use a clip for. That's just how I do it. I know it's not the best way, but
it's better.
And then I'll
it's better than letting YouTube decide what thumbnail you're going to use.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would never recommend that. Usually the clips they pick anyways are terrible, but like I would say you always want text in your thumbnail no matter what. I think preferably larger is better. Sometimes I don't fill it all the way, but I try to at least put some text in there so people aren't just looking at a thumbnail, because I feel like thumbnails and titles are really what pulls people in sometimes. And I hate to use the word clickbait, but sometimes you do need to like add a little bit of clickbait, but not in the sense of like you're baiting people into like a false video. But you just want to, you want to pull people into the video. Yeah. And I think larger text usually helps with that, and just a nice thumbnail in general really helps with that. And then I'll just schedule them, and I'll have them go public on different days, and it'll just be good to go. And then I feel a lot more relaxed in being able to record videos when I want, when I'm able to do that. Like, I'll sometimes schedule out 8 days ahead in videos, and then during any time period, just record more videos. I'm not feeling like I'm forced to have to record videos because it needs to go up the next day. So that's just how I do it. It's nice and relaxing in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually the best way to do it. If you can get everything done in one day and get your flow going, it makes the editing process a lot easier for a lot of people, especially if you're just doing a talking head video that doesn't have quite as much editing going into it. If all that you're doing is applying a, little, quick filter to adjust the colors to make you look a little bit tanner like myself, because normally I'm pasty. Just the little things make a huge difference. But, with my bigger videos where I actually have to spend time editing, they'll take me 3 to 4 hours to do, so batch recording doesn't always make sense. Whereas with my one-shots, I can kick out 4 to 5 of those in 25 minutes, because I don't want them to be that long. I want them to be easily consumable. And then I'll get those edited, rendered, and ready to go within 35, 40 minutes. Thumbnails, since I now know how I want to do them, I can have 4 to 5 videos ready to go and at their proper upload time within 3 hours now. And
you make a great point too. My videos specifically, like if you watch them, what I do within editing is nowhere near what some other people do. Like my editing is mostly just cutting out dead spots where I'm not talking. Like sometimes I just have to like stop and think. But if I have to do a video that involves a lot of editing, which I haven't done yet, those can definitely be draining. So sometimes I'll batch record those, but I may not batch edit them. Like sometimes I'll edit one and get it out there, but if there's a ton of editing involved, sometimes I won't edit the next one till like the next day, just because it's even small amounts of editing can be draining. It's all fun and good, but it can definitely be draining. And like you look at the clock and it's 9 p.m. and then when you finish the video, you realize, oh my God, it's like 10:30, 11. And so I like I said, this channel I haven't really done a ton, but one of my newer videos I did a little more, and that was it definitely takes a lot more time than you think if you don't edit a lot.
And that's, for me, most of my videos, for everyone who watches, you know that I do basically one take the entire way through. And for me, that works really, really, really well because I'm a fucking great bullshitter. Like, I don't fill in. It used to be I was on speech team. My mom taught me. She's like, Brian, you don't say and You leave a pregnant pause to make people curious. And so it's always right when you're making a video. Like you can tell when I make a fuck up because like there will be a hard cut because I know like to leave a pause for myself, so I know where I messed up at. Cut it, slap it together. But normally, 95% of my time is spent just doing one takes, which is why sometimes with my editing, it's more so not stringing together coherent sentences. It's putting, the little extra touches that I enjoy doing and I think adds some gravitas to it. But that's all personal style. And that's what YouTube for me is about. It's about finding your personal style and creating and crafting a personality behind the channel.
Oh, yeah. Dude, 95% of my editing is just cutting out the ums. Like, people don't understand. If I were to upload like just a straight video without editing, there would be so many just thrown out there. And like I'm trying my best to like correct it and not do it, but it's just like I'll record a video where I didn't do it as much, and then I'll go back and edit it. And I'm like I don't even remember saying that. And so that's honestly what a lot of my cuts are. And some people, I mean, I don't know about some people, but I don't mind it as much. Like I would much rather watch a video of myself with those cut out than those kept in. So that's definitely what my editing is, I guess. And the breaks, obviously.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to edit out your ums and uhs, in my opinion. It's really what sets people apart from one another. Is if you're leaving those and uhs in, it's not so much, you're making yourself sound unprofessional. It's you're giving yourself some extra time where you could be putting in some extra content for the consumer, for your subscribers, for the community. And for me, I'm all about providing the best quality for the community every single time. There are videos that and there's reasons why I do certain videos. I know that some of my videos are going to crash and burn, but I do them specifically because I'm testing out a couple different tactics. Getting better at editing, getting better at one takes. I think every video is a chance to get better. And the other thing is, you don't know which video is going to cause you to kind of get that nice little boost to that next thing, There's been, over the last month, I thought I had a dead video. Not necessarily a dead one. It was my, manga shipping companies video. In the past month, it's gained almost 3,000 views. Since the quarantine COVID thing started, it had 800 to 1,000, and now it's sitting close to 5,000 views in the last 6 to 8 weeks. And every video that you put out is an opportunity for you to grow as a creator. And I think that for me, the only time that I don't put a video out is when I start recording it and I get like part of the way through and I realize my heart's not in it, I'll just stop. I won't even force my way through it. I'll just stop and do something else. Because if I'm going to film a video, it's going to be uploaded.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest keys right there is you don't know which video is going to just fly right into that YouTube algorithm where for whatever reason, it just starts suggesting your video more often than other videos you make. So that's why what my whole thing is, some people will say, oh, you want to upload quality over quantity. And while I agree with that, I think there's still something to be said with quantity. And I think, like we were saying, trying to upload as consistent as possible and as much as possible within, the first couple weeks of your channel being, alive, basically. Now, you don't want to upload, poor quality videos, just not even in terms of the video, like the physical video itself, but also the content. But at the same time, the more videos you have out there, the better chance it is that YouTube does plug one of your videos into their magical algorithm to be able to get you those views. And it may not happen within the first couple days. It might not happen within the first couple weeks or even like within a year. I know we all see those videos where it was uploaded like 2 years ago, and for some reason it's just now getting like a ton of views. And that's kind of the difficult thing too, is I know we had mentioned this on Dindor's stream, but putting a ton of money specifically into a video, and not because let's just talk about manga in general, buying a bunch of manga for a video and not because you actually want that manga and you want to read that manga is that's a dangerous game to play, because some manga collections and hauls do get a lot of views, but there's no guarantee. And that's that is one of the biggest things with YouTube, is just, even if you think a video is going to do really well, it might not, or it might do really well. You never know. But yeah, that's my whole take on that situation. You just gotta upload videos you enjoy making, and you think other people are going to enjoy, and then you just kind of gotta sit back and wait and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to transition this a little bit away from this topic for a few minutes. We might come back to it, but I kind of want to know, which creators did you start watching when you were just joining the manga community?
So let's see. I was watching you. I was watching Highland Manga. I was watching Insidious Swede. He's probably my favorite, if not one of my favorite creators, just because I really like his videos and I take a lot of inspiration from his videos. I'm sure a lot of other people have videos like him, but for whatever reason, that's a channel right there that gets recommended to me all the time. Like if I go to my homepage and I just refresh it, like his video is very likely to come up. Now it's probably because he has a lot of videos and his videos have decent amount of views, but I love his like top 10 and top 5 videos, especially when they're talking about like different genres and stuff like that, or like underrated manga. But also some other people, Uchu Shelf, Dubs Not Subs, or sorry, Dubs Not Subs. Who else? Base, Senpai.
Does that mean you're a Mal man? Are you a My Anime List fan now? Now that you mention Base, I have to ask.
It's honestly, I didn't even know about it until probably a week or two ago. I know probably 2 weeks ago now. Like I didn't even know that existed, that website. And then I had heard about people talking about Mal, but I didn't really know too much about it. And now I'm not gonna lie, when I do look up new manga, I do tend to go to the website and just check out the ratings. Although I don't fully agree with the ratings all the time. I think it's kind of like IMDb, where you take it and you kind of get a general idea of the consensus, and then you just kind of run with it and decide your own personal rating. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. That is something that I just kind of recently found out about. And then Boogie. Actually, one of my favorite is in terms of his manga videos. I don't watch reaction videos, but in terms of his manga videos, I think his name's Dean Barry. He always has crazy hauls, and yeah, I'm sure there's probably some other ones that I'm missing, but honestly, like kind of your typical bigger manga tubers, mostly because they're just the ones who showed up when I was searching for videos. So yeah,
and I mean it's got to put in the work. You're starting to be, with this growth that you're starting to experience, you're gonna start to be put in front of more and more people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the kind of content that you want to create in the long run. So after talking with you a little bit before this stream, I know that you have kind of a vision for where you want to go, and can you fill us in a little bit on that? Pull back that curtain, as I like to say. Where do you want to go as a mangatube creator?
Yeah, so I mean, right now, we were kind of talking about how the mangatube is kind of still limited, I guess. Like it's growing for sure, but manga is not as well known as anime. So being able to expand your channel into anime, but not like consistent, just anime. What I like to do is I actually like to compare manga and anime, whether it's like the first couple of volumes in the first season, or just kind of something similar to that, I think is really cool, because those types of videos, I feel, help people who only watch anime learn that like manga is also really interesting, and sometimes it's actually even better than the anime. Or on the flip side, sometimes, as we all know, the anime actually ends up being a lot better than the manga. So that's definitely something I want to expand on, is being able to make more videos about just anime in general, because that's something that I've been kind of lacking on, is watching anime versus reading manga. I read a lot more manga than I watch anime, and that's also just because when I was younger, like I wasn't really into anime the way that I was into other stuff. The only animes that I can remember watching are Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously, and then you have, which I didn't even realize were anime. Then you have Zatch Bell, which some of you guys may know, some of you may not. I have a video where I had an issue with those, and then Naruto, which once again I didn't really even realize was anime. But I was never like, it wasn't that I wasn't interested in other ones. It's just I wasn't really exposed to that. Most of my friends were like watching other stuff. So I don't know. It's really cool being able to get into it now, though, because everything is so new. I was just talking to, I think it was That Man and His Manga, and I'm like, man, I feel like I always feel nervous about going on Twitter and like talking about stuff, because I've only read like 3 volumes of One Piece, and I know that's kind of considered the god tier to some people when it comes to both anime and manga, and so I've been kind of slacking on that too.
I wouldn't call it god tier. Again, I'm part of the One Piece Stan Club. I think I think everyone needs to watch it. I think that Oda's going to go down in history as one of the greatest fiction authors of all time, and you can always quote me on that. But there's also a point where it is such a large series that diving into it genuinely is sometimes a hassle. Especially, the first 100 chapters, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, was 100% geared towards children. Like 100%. Like it was 1997, I think, is when the manga was first published, and that was like right when shonen was being really geared towards more childish fun. And for me, anyway, and this is all the craziness behind it, but there's something to be said about those first 100 chapters. They're playful, they're more adventurous, and there's not really an overarching story where everybody grows at the same pace. Then you jump into where the manga and the anime are now, and it is a much darker, grown-up series. It's still for kids. It's still 100% for kids, but it tackles a lot more mature subjects because it steadily builds towards them. Like, halfway through the series, talks about racism, about sovereignty. You talk about just a bunch of different problems within the world, and it's a great series to really dive into, but just because you haven't read it doesn't mean that you don't like manga. It just means that you're wrong.
See, the only reason I haven't read it yet is, I say this about certain series, but then I'll end up like buying that same amount for a bunch of different. For whatever reason, it just seems almost overwhelming at the moment to get into it, because I know as soon as I do, I'm going to want to keep reading it. And the fact they already have 3 box sets out, and there's manga after that 3rd box set, it's both awesome knowing that I'll be able to just keep reading it, but it's also like, damn, that's really going to hit my wallet. And even though I say that, I've also then like bought probably the same amount that the first box set costs in like 4 different series. That's the other thing too. Like I need to finish a lot of my series, and I just always freaking like buy a new series. I don't know. It's just there's so much good stuff out that I don't know. It's just so hard to just put a lot of money into one series, even though I know that's how I'm gonna want to do it at some point.
I mean, you could go the cheap way and purchase the Viz Media package, where you can read it all online for very,
That's
very
true.
cheap price. Then you're not having to
That's
spend
true.
a lot. I will admit that if you buy it new, it's a lot of money, which is why I very, very rarely buy any manga ever.
Mhm.
Like, that is my bane, is spending $11 to $12 on a manga.
Yep.
It's all used. It's all used. I know the best places to go.
That's my issue with Vinland Saga. Is as much as I love Vinland Saga and how I think the quality's great on it, knowing that I have to pay even the discounted rate on like Amazon is still very expensive per volume. So that is something that holds me back sometimes, especially from these newer series that are getting freshly printed. It can definitely take a hit on the wallet. So
Yeah, and I mean, for series like Vinland Saga, you can actually find them a lot of times, like half price books. You can buy them for like $5 to $7,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
awesome. It's great. But then they start sometimes charging genuine full price, which is stupid. I would not buy Vinland Saga at full price. I like the series, but it's not worth $100,000.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like when you first get into this, there's so much knowledge about where to buy stuff, like where to buy books, that I feel like a lot of people kind of start on a website like Amazon, and then they kind of learn about these other websites, and then they'll kind of start diving into them. Like one of the first videos I made was where I buy my manga, and even since then, so many things have changed that while I still agree with that video, I feel like in like another month or two, I'll be able to update and just make a whole new video on that. Because like you said, I also really prefer buying used manga as long as it's not in like terrible condition. So, what I look for is, like Facebook Marketplace or Mercari or like eBay. And there's definitely been a lot of new stuff that I've learned that I would love to, put into another video. Like I haven't ordered anything off there, but usually what's it called? Like Abe Books. I don't know if you've ordered from them, but usually they have pretty cheap used manga too. And
I mean, most of the time I buy all my manga from physical used bookstores because they have a good enough selection. And honestly, I've walked in, bought all of 20th Century Boys, all of Monster, all of Full Metal Alchemist at the same moment in time.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, that's
insane.
I've walked into the store, and this is, my wife has now forbidden me from saying certain sentences before we walk into the bookstore, like, oh, we're probably not going to find this, because I've said that, like, one time I was like, I just want to go in and check. They probably don't have Pluto because it's such a rare series to find used because no one really wants to get rid of it. I was like, no, we probably won't find Pluto. Walked in, Pluto was sitting right there.
That's unreal.
Bought all of them, and then walked in one day. We were about to walk in. I was just like, man, I can't wait to buy 20th Century Boys. Walked in, everything except for volume number 18 was sitting there. I was like,
that's crazy.
What? And so I even bought those, and they sold me the 18th volume at a discount with free shipping.
So what I would love is, so my whole thing was I kind of started branching out and looking at manga, and well, they're more so my issue is locally everything is labeled as comic stores, and you don't really know if there's going to be manga in them unless you like contact them or you actually go out to them. So I found this really awesome store, which I mentioned in one of my hauls, where it has a pretty decent amount of manga. Now it's kind of like various titles and stuff like that, but everything's $1 each. So it's a great deal if you find some good stuff. But that was literally right before the virus hit, like probably a couple days before, because when I was in there, I was kind of joking around with him, like, I don't even know, like he didn't even know if he was supposed to be open at that time. And unfortunately, everything is still locked down in terms of like bookstores. So I'm not sure when they're going to be able to open. I know there's like, for where I live, there's phases going on, but hopefully they're able to open soon, because I would love to find some more local bookstores. I feel like that's probably one of the best ways to shop for manga is in person. Like nothing beats being able to just go into a store and see it like physically there in front of you. Now, of course, it's also like kind of dangerous because you'll see a lot of, like you were saying, a lot of series that you didn't expect to see, even if you go to like a Barnes and Nobles, and it definitely adds things onto your list that you didn't walk into with them already on there. But I mean, there's no other experience, in my opinion, in terms of like manga collecting than just being able to go in and experience being able to buy something in person. It's a lot of fun, and I miss that.
It's the endorphins from purchasing something new. Like, you get so excited when you walk in, you're like, oh shit. Is that what they have? Oh my god. And you just get so excited and you get so over the top, and then you walk out, you feel like you got a good deal. You get home, you set it on your shelf, and you're like, well, fuck, I didn't actually want to buy that. Son of a bitch.
Yep.
Like, I walked out with, I bought Rurouni Kenshin for the entire series of Rurouni Kenshin for like less than $2 a volume.
Yep.
And then I sold it. Literally. I opened the first book, read it, and I've done this multiple times. I bought the first volume or two of Rurouni Kenshin multiple times because I'm like, oh, okay, it's finally time for me to read it. And like, I read the first one, I'm like, you know what? I lied to myself. It's not the time to read it. This is pointless. Like, I opened up the first volume, like I read through it, and I went, shit, I just spent like $30. It was $30 or $40 to buy all the volumes, and I was like, shit. So I ended up selling it and actually made a profit on it, and I was like, okay, this is pretty decent. Like, the best deals that I've ever gotten are when half price books, their physical stores will have a 50% off, and they will also, the ones down by me have historically bundled manga together, and no one genuinely looks up on the top of the shelves to look at the bundled manga because they just assume that they're more expensive. Well, normally they'll already be $5 cheaper as a bundle, and then you take it and get it for half price, and suddenly I bought like 30 volumes of One Piece for like, again, $2 a volume. I've gotten,
that's nuts,
dude. It's fucking the way to go. I'm telling you, like 50% off coupons.
Yeah. That's why even with my like limited knowledge at the beginning of like where to buy stuff, I still want to make that video because there was, when I first started, like I said, I was buying a lot of stuff from Newbury Comics and then also some stuff from Barnes and Nobles, and those prices are just like, if like, never ever pay full retail for manga. Now I would have to do the math because Barnes and Nobles, I bought a lot of manga off of the buy one free, so that might be all right. But dude, going into the specific stores where it's like full retail is dangerous. I would not recommend picking up a lot of manga unless they do have a sale like that. Yeah. Because there's just, at least at the discount stores, if there's a lot of manga, like you're getting them for a discount. But you go into a Barnes and Nobles and there'll be a ton of manga and you'll be like super excited, but then you look at how much each one adds onto the bill and it can add up really, really quick.
I mean, 10 volumes costing you like $100? No.
Oh my god.
Like if 10 volumes cost me anything more than 50, I'm done. I'm like, no, this is pointless. Why?
Yep.
Why? And I've had some very like visceral reactions walking into Barnes and Noble. I've purchased from them once in my adult life, like once, and even then I would just sat there and I was like, this is too much. I was like,
Yep.
It was during one of their Viz BOGO sales where you can buy certain things. I was like, okay, I guess this is the only time that I'm going to do this, and now I'm looking back and I regret purchasing those at full price. Even with the one that was free, I was like, nah, not cool.
I have My Hero Academia up to volume like 20, and then I have Promised Neverland up to volume like not 20, like 11 or something like that. And those were all bought through like the Barnes Nobles buy two get one free sale. And even at that, like I'm like, man, I wish I didn't do that. But that's also because I didn't have the knowledge of like, you really shouldn't, like, you should look for pre-owned, and then you should also look at pre-owned when it doesn't get above a certain price per book. Like right now, I don't want to buy manga unless it's under $5 volume.
Yeah.
And
there's certain manga that I will actually purchase for, $5 to $7, but it also depends on, like, if a Vinland Saga manga, I'll pay $7.49 for. I know the exact price. Yep. I'm like, that's a good price. It's going to be hard to find it for anything, less than that. Normally, even used, it'll be more. But like, my price point is like $3.99 to $4.99 per volume, like from a store. That's where I'm at, unless it's something super rare like Bokurano. I ended up purchasing one of the volumes for Too much. It was like $30 because I didn't know it was out. It was the only one that was out of print, and I didn't pay attention. Like I was flipping them, I was like, okay, they're all $6.99. It's a very rare book. It's something that I wanted. It's like, okay, yeah, this all makes sense. Went up to the counter, and she's like, total $60, and I went, I have 5 books here. How the fuck did this happen? And so I looked back, and I was like,
Yep.
I was like, can I see these really quick? Pulled them, and I was like, I can't put this book back because then it was like number 4 out of the 5 that I got, 1 through 5, and I was like, if I put this back, I can't get number 5. I'm never gonna get this one again. So I was like, fine. Then I looked it up, and it was insane. I also have to ship out. I've been very, very forgetful with the whole coronavirus and the United States Postal Service kind of messing up a little bit. But I found a volume of Ultimate Muscle that I purchased for $15. Which I was like, okay, this is pretty pricey. I sold it for $150.
Wow.
I mean, I have to ship it to the guy before I get the money.
See, that's I can't stand that too, because some of these out of print series, like specifically Zatchwell, because I put the math together. If you were to buy so there's 25 volumes in English. If you were to buy, let's say, like volumes 1 through like 17 or 18. It'll only run you like $100, which is not good. But when you add on like 17 to 25, it goes up to like $300 just because of how rare those other volumes are. It's like, it's nuts. I'm like, man, this is insane to charge, not charge, but for specific volumes throughout a series to be worth, like $30, $35, and then other volumes in that series be worth like $2. It's like, I don't fully understand. I can understand why an entire series can be expensive, but I always think it's crazy when it's just 1 or 2 volumes throughout the series that can just totally boost the entire series up to a price that is just out of the world.
There was a time, and when I say a time, I mean like 2 years ago, when a series called Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer started to increase in price. Mm-hmm. Like, used volumes were selling for $100. Like, they started off at $4. Like, I could have bought all of them, however many there are, like $4.99 a pop from the used bookstore, and then they started to literally double in price every single day for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and now they're still sitting at $90 a pop. And I was like, dude, the bookstore that I always went to had them for. They had like 3 or 4 volumes of the same one. I could have literally had a few $100s just from spending $20 to buy some of these things. Like, I will never in my life spend that much for an out of print series.
Honestly, I know. So one of the YouTubers who I talk to a lot is the Prom G, and he's big into collecting, but also like collecting out of print series. And he's still yet to post a collection video. It's coming up soon, but he has a couple other series that he's bringing in. But a lot of his collection is out of print, and that's just kind of what he likes. Me personally, I would always be, if I had a lot of out of print series, I'd be terrified, because especially Dark Horse and the way they're publishing these deluxe editions and these omnibuses, like, I would hate to pay a ton of money for singles, even though some people just like the singles more, and I totally get that. But I would always just be so nervous that whatever I paid would just completely crash in value. Like, I know I saw Flip in one of his streams saying that he managed to sell, what was it? The Gantz singles for like $1,300, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, awesome for Flip, and then awesome for whoever bought it, because obviously he really wanted them. But I don't know. That's just that the person that's crazy to me. Wanting singles that bad. And like I said, I don't mean to offend anyone by saying that, but especially when there's omnibuses coming out, that's a lot of money for manga and for out of print series.
Too much. It's way too much. Like, again, I don't want to go into how much that bothers me on a very personal
Yeah.
So what do you actually do outside of manga like reading manga, creating mangatube videos? Like, what are your kind of hobbies other than this? Because everyone has one or two.
So one of my other hobbies is I enjoy kind of just like streetwear, fashion, like kind of just collecting like sneakers and stuff like that. That's something that's kind of influenced my life for a while now. And it's also a pretty expensive hobby. So I've kind of taken that back a lot, because that was actually something that you can spend a lot of money in really fast. And it's something that you almost like an out of print series manga. It's something that can appreciate in value, but with like clothing and stuff like that, like you wear that stuff, so it's kind of like a car in the sense that, you know, the more you drive it or the more you wear it, the more it depreciates. So it's a really conflicting thing, especially like when we're talking about sneakers, because, you know, that's things that will retail for, let's say, $160, but then it'll hit the aftermarket for, you know, $300, $400, $500. So it's something that I've been into because it was something that I could make money off of before I was able to legally work. You know, being able to buy stuff and resell them. But yeah, that's definitely one of the hobbies, and I think it's kind of cool too, because anime has been influencing fashion a lot. If you look at brands like Hypeland, they have some awesome collaborations. They had an official Naruto, an official Bleach collaboration, and they have some really awesome pieces. So I think it's kind of cool that those are also kind of integrating, even though it didn't necessarily influence me to get into, you know, anime and manga. And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of what's really been my main hobby right now is the whole manga and, you know, anime, and just there's so much for me to learn about all this new stuff that it's kind of taken over a little bit, especially with quarantine, being able to have some more free time. Yeah, that's kind of it for that.
Yeah, I've seen a few things streetwear wise. I'm like, dude, I cannot pull that off. Like, I look at that, I'm like, that's made for people who are not 5'6". That's made for people who are like normal height or above, because the clothes like they have to fit in a specific way to look really good. And that's why I just go like full one color t-shirt, jeans, and then whatever shoes I have on. Some of these,
and
like, some of these hypewear, like hype beast stuff, it looks dope as hell, but I could not pull it off.
Well, it's also not even about not pulling it off, but like it is so expensive that sometimes it's not even worth trying to. And like I said, that's why I pulled back, because I kind of looked at what I have and I'm like, man, I have a lot of stuff and there's only so much you can wear in one day, you know what I mean? So I kind of decided that I was spending a little too much on it, and I'd rather just simplify it. And especially because in high school and in college, it's different. Like you can wear whatever you want. And then once you get out of college, like I just graduated this year, and I've been working in an industry since January where like you have to look professional. Like you gotta look, you gotta look nice. You gotta be able to, gain your client's trust and, respect. So a lot of the stuff I have is stuff that I would wear, outside of work or, an off time and something like that. And, after you get through high school and college, there's not as much time like that. So I just had to basically pull back from that. I'm still into it and there's still money to be made in it, but, I don't know, there's a lot of money to be lost too.
Like I said, hype beast stuff, streetwear stuff looks cool. Not professional though. It's like tattoos.
No.
Eventually tattoos are going to be more accepted to have in like a professional setting than streetwear.
Yep.
No offense to streetwear, but I can't be walking around wearing something that Macklemore bought from a Sorry.
Yeah. Now the only exception to that is obviously if you're like, if you're like an influencer on YouTube or Instagram or something like that, and that's, you get paid to basically wear those stuff, wear that stuff and either make videos about it or whatever. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of get in their head, is they're like, oh, I want to be that. I want to be able to, buy these expensive things and, have this fan base around that. And it usually doesn't end up working out. And usually you just end up with a closet full of, stuff that, like I said, you don't really wear too much. And it's a mental battle with manga. It's awesome because even if you spend a good amount of money on manga, like you reading it isn't going to depreciate it. But when you have clothing and accessories and shoes or whatever, like you wear it, you depreciate it. So it's a mental battle of like, am I going to wear this or am I not going to wear this? And am I going to sell it later on? It's definitely straining. And I know a lot of people like don't really care about that too much if you're not into that whole setting. But it's an interesting concept to say the least. And it's awesome. You don't see it, and within manga, as long as you keep your manga out of the sunlight and not getting sun bleached and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I said, for me, I've reached the point where half of my books are yellow just because that's how they are, and I'm like, yeah, this is fine. I'm not going to bother going and sanding down the pages to make them white, to make them look pristine. That's not who I am. They're on a shelf. No one's eating them except for the one volume of Yu Yu Hakusho that my dog ate.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
it was a great thing to get a message from her. She's like, hey, you're going to kill Winston. I was like, why? What did he do? I was like, oh my God, he probably did something really dumb. And she just sends me this picture of the back cover of Yu Yu Hakusho, and it's just like ripped in half. Like, I get home like, dude, what the hell? I expect better. I'm like, I thought I trained you better. I expect so much more. I am disappointed in you. And then he looked at my face and I forgave him because I was like, oh, it only cost me $4. There's no point in getting upset about that. Actually, no.
Absolutely.
I might have actually bought volume 2 new. Can't remember anymore. There was one of the Yu Yu Hakusho volumes that I bought new just for my manga shipping company review. And who knows, actually, I think as of recording this, that video, part 2, will be out pretty soon.
Cool.
I'm really hyped for. A little bit of a different turn, but who can say?
Yeah.
I'm just so intrigued by like what series you're really wanting to add to your collection. I know that you just picked up 97% of Bleach. You picked up a smattering of other just random things. What are you wanting to just like throw onto your shelves now?
All right, so this is an awesome question because I feel I'm so conflicted right now. Obviously, I had that massive haul, and I almost feel like I shouldn't buy more manga right now. But at the same time, I only spent $50 on that haul because I only bought it for Bleach, and then I got everything else added onto it. So I feel guilty just physically getting more manga, although I don't necessarily feel guilty by spending more money. But here's the issue. What I want to add next is I Am a Hero, which is a Dark Horse series, very popular zombie series for anyone who doesn't know. And the issue with that is those are, I mean, Dark Horse isn't going to announce it, I assume, but everyone I've been talking to knows that that's going out of print, and certain volumes are becoming much harder to find. And I have, so it goes by Omnibus with the English release, and I have the first 2 of those, and I really want to complete it. But that involves getting Omnibuses 3 through 11, I think, which on its own is a pretty heavy purchase, depending on where I'm able to get it from. And then a couple other series, like I need to finish a few. I don't have the last 2 volumes of Monster, which has been bugging me because that's been one of my favorite series right now.
Do you own the perfect editions of Monster? I can't remember.
Yep. Yeah, I do. So the only... basically, I own the perfect editions for anything that's out of print. So I don't have, except for anything that got through my last haul, I don't have like the single editions to stuff that's in the perfect, that have perfect editions. So 20th Century Boys, Monster. I don't mind perfect editions. I actually really like it. I feel like it's a great way to not have to spend a lot of money. But yeah, Monster, I really enjoyed. I need the last 2 volumes, but my main ones right now are I Am a Hero and maybe one other series. But I basically just added a bunch of stuff to my cart and Right Stuff, and I haven't clicked the checkout button. And it's just been kind of sitting there, and I don't know. It's just I really want to finish that series because I know as soon as it actually goes out of print, prices are going to skyrocket, and I don't think that's one of the ones they're going to make a like deluxe edition for. Maybe down the road they might do something with it, but they already have it in omnibus form. So I don't know. I'm just not sure whether it's one of those series they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna do a deluxe edition for. So I am a little concerned by that.
It's like your heart, you're like, oh, man, do I spend the money, buy it now? Do I run the risk? See, for me, I don't care about perfect editions. I think that the 20th Century Boys perfect editions don't add anything. Those OG spines on the 20th Century Boys, perfection.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. If I get presented with the opportunity to buy single editions for less than what I would purchase the perfect editions for, I'll take that any day of the week. But I'm not someone who, like we were mentioning, I'm not someone who is going to go out of their way to buy the single editions and spend more than if I would to buy the perfect editions. But that's just me personally. If I get a better deal, I'll take whatever I can get, you know?
I am cheap like that. You can buy me off with a hamburger from McDonald's, or you can buy me off with a pizza from Pizza. It doesn't matter. I'm cheap. But like I said, there are a few series that I'm looking to complete with my collection, and there's only really 1-2 series that I'm going to buy in a very specific way, just because that's how I want them. Like, and I'm never that specific. Like, I only want to purchase like the OG versions of Dragon Ball. Other than that, I really don't care. Like, if I get them I'm gonna buy Naruto in omnibus form. I'm gonna buy Bleach in omnibus form. If I however I can get it, I'll get it.
Yep. When you say OG versions, do you mean like original versions, or are we talking like just like Dragon Ball, volume 1 through 16 in any way or shape or form?
So for me, I'm talking about the old Viz Tall manga. So there's there's like 2 or 3 different printings of the original Dragon Ball manga. But the one that I used to read as a kid was the White Spine Dragon Ball manga. The new printing, or the printing that I was out when I was like 12 through 15 in there, was the Red Spine. So I'm taking a step back from that and just getting the original volume that was like, that's the one that I remember sitting down and reading in the books, not the bookstore, but the library. And like, I want that just for nostalgia. Purely that. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with the red version, the Red Spine, but just that thought process of, this is how I started. Like, I want this to be on my shelves because this will be my crowning jewel. That's the only reason that I want it. Can't remember how many printings of the original Dragon Ball there were.
See, I mean, I was just curious because that was the first box set I ever bought, was the Viz Media, like, the red editions. And that was also, so I was reading 20th Century Boys and reading Dragon Ball at the same time. And I think that's what kind of pulled me away from 20th Century Boys, because I had never watched Dragon Ball Z. Like, somehow I had played more of the video game than I had watched anything, because I just, like I said, my friends weren't really into Dragon Ball, but I would end up at some party, and like, I feel like as a kid, when you're at a party and people are playing video games, like, it's always, at that time, it was always either like Street Fighter or Tekken or Dragon Ball, because, people would want to do like tournaments and stuff like that. So being able to sit down and just like read through Dragon Ball was awesome. Like, that was probably one of my favorite experiences through reading manga at all. And I'm so happy too, because apparently before Viz released that box set, like, the Dragon Ball singles were going for a really expensive amount. I don't know the exact details, but apparently it was going for a lot of money that I guess some people kind of regret paying because they didn't know it was going to get reprinted. So I guess that's one of the issues too when it comes to reprints and spending a lot of money, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. And just so I can be more specific, there were 2 English printings of Dragon Ball. The first was in 2003, which is the series that I'm looking for, and the next one was in 2009. Which was the Red Spines, which I own a few of, but it's not the ones that
Yep. Yeah. And nostalgia definitely plays a role in manga and collecting too. Like, that's really why I want the Zatch Bell series, is not because I know for sure like it's a great series, but because that was one of the last anime type series like TV shows that I ever watched, and it was produced a little later than the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh series. So I was a little bit older when I was watching that. I was probably like somewhere between like the 4th and 5th grade maybe. I think it came out in like 2006. So there's a lot of nostalgia purpose to that. I also really like the concept and little books and stuff like that. But personally, I don't even know if it's a fantastic manga series. I know it's good enough to at least get 25 volumes. Unfortunately, it wasn't finished. It wasn't completed, as in like printed in English. I think Japan has like 30 something volumes, 37 maybe. But I don't know. Nostalgia does play a huge role, and I feel like because I didn't watch a whole lot, I'm not affected by it as much as other people. But I definitely still absolutely feel that for that series.
Zatch Bell is the bomb, but
yeah.
You also can't fully buy it.
Nope. So yeah, it's 25 volumes, but I will say I think I did find someone who translated the rest of the volumes, but I mean, depending on whether you support that or not, like that could be a whole nother topic, like scans and stuff like that, because I feel like I have a slightly different opinion than other people. But I always I haven't even touched anything like that of stuff that's released with Zatch Bell, because I'd much rather read it in physical form, and I'm just gonna wait until I can do it.
I also have a different opinion than most people. Gotten me in trouble twice, but anyway, we are nearing the end of our hour, which means that we have time for 2 more questions for you.
Sweet.
First question being, what would your manga starter pack be right now? Like, if you were to give somebody 5 separate series, volume 1s to read, which ones would they be?
All right, so I just made a video on this, and I think I did 10 volumes, but if I had to do 5 volumes, I would pick... all right, so this is kind of tough because I just read a couple of these, and after you read some manga, I feel like your opinions can be a little varied. But I was just telling a couple people, I think Satoshi Kon's Opus is actually a fantastic manga, and I think even though it wasn't finished, I think it has a really, really cool backstory to it. So I think that would be a great choice. It's also one shot, so it's not too heavy in terms of having to buy a bunch of volumes. I think for your average person, Death Note is also a great option because that comes in multiple forms. It's not too long, but you can buy the all-in-one version. You can buy the normal singles. You can buy the Black Edition. You can buy the box set. There's just so many different options. So that's 2 right there. I would say... I can't remember exactly what I listed. I'm more into seinen for the people who don't know. So I enjoy a little more darker stories. I think Monster is also a fantastic series to go with. Let me think. And then of course, everyone talks about it. I think everyone talks about it, but Vinland Saga is also a really good choice because, in my opinion, Volume 1 really hooked me. And I feel like for a new reader, Volume 1 really needs to hook them because you don't want to have to be told, oh, you got to buy the first 3 volumes. You got to read the first 3 volumes before it actually gets good. And I feel like Vinland Saga was pretty good at that. And then one extra one, which I recommend, but then is also tough, is if you like crazier stories in terms of movies or TV shows, I always recommend, if you're able to find it, Battle Royale, because that is what really got me into reading manga. Even though I don't own that legally, if I didn't read that, I'm not sure I would be where I'm at today in terms of collecting manga. That really did get me in. What did you say?
Fair. Totally fair.
Yep.
Totally fair. And then finally, the most important question. It's the random question of the day. And I have to ask, Coke or Pepsi?
Word. Coke.
Okay, so you're a decent human being then. I got it. I understand.
Although I'll tell you this. Regular Coke, but if we're talking diet, we're going Diet Pepsi. I know I had to throw that in. I had to throw a little curveball in, but yeah, that's the route I'm going.
All right, well, let everyone know where they can find you. Hopefully they don't think too much less of you for liking Diet Pepsi over Diet Coke, or even Coke Zero. I'll let them know what you have coming up, and I will also link your channel in the comments down below.
Awesome. Yeah. So once again, my name's EastCoastManga. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I'm more active on obviously YouTube and Instagram. Twitter, I'm obviously there, but I don't really post that much. And I just released a manga haul. This will probably go up a couple days after, or a little bit after, but you can check that out. And yeah, I got a bunch of other videos coming up, and like I said, a little bit branching into anime. So yeah, a lot of stuff to look forward to for sure.
Cool. And you guys know where to find me because you're obviously watching this, listening to this. Go check out East Coast Manga. He's definitely up and coming. Keep an eye out for his rise because I think it's going to be a pretty decent one, if I do say so myself. You guys know.
The kind words.
Well, like I said, all of his stuff is going to be linked in the description down below, not the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And for everyone in new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy Lohili, and I will see you next video.